What up, my freaks? Ruinous Insight here with another Battlefleet Gothic Armada 2 Skalgrim Mod ship spotlight. So we are continuing with our look at the Tau Protector Fleet's new ships, and this time we'll be specifically taking a look at their brand new Grand Cruiser, the 1,000 Daggers. Now, right off the bat, we can see that this ship is fairly inexpensive, at least compared to the other bigger ships, being the Titan, the Victorious Ethereal, at more than 4 times, in fact, more expensive than the 1,000 Daggers, as well as the Battleship, the Custodian, that's around twice as expensive. So, pretty good in terms of the expense there, considering its class at the very least, especially when you take a look at the expense of cruisers and light cruisers and the like for Tau. Now, being a Tau ship, unfortunately, this thing is definitely made of wet tissue paper. In fact, it's even more made of wet tissue paper than a lot of Eldari ships. If you were to take a look at the battle cruisers of the Corsair Eldari, they would actually have more hull points than this ship. So yeah, it's fragile. It is incredibly fragile. And while the Tau ships are generally fragile because they're supposed to essentially use the auxiliaries for tanks, this is definitely something you gotta watch out for. Getting these things hit with missiles or with torpedoes, with a radiation storm or the Eldari equivalent, Nova cannons, anything like that, or even just a flight of bombers or two would absolutely be able to cripple these sort of things, and that goes for many of the Tau ships once again. On the bright side, however, you can fairly be sort of spammy, I suppose, with these ships. We can put in 6 in our single showcase fleet, so that's fairly good, although once again it is a Grand Cruiser. Also, I just want to keep mentioning how little HP this is. For nearly 200 points, this is less HP than an Orc light cruiser, and I know that the Orcs do have a lot of HP comparative to the other factions, but an Orc light cruiser costs around 50 points, so you could buy 4 of them, all of which will have more HP than this thing. So yeah, definitely keep this thing away from the front lines, and as far away from anything that can hurt it as possible. If you're building a fleet, obviously bring some demiurge or recruit vessels. I'm just going to bring nothing but these guys in this particular case because it's a showcase and I don't want to rely too much on other vessels. Fortunately, if you are spamming these things, you can probably get away with not providing any support vessels because they do have a couple of launch bays and are pretty good in that. Once again, they do have the 83 front armor of the bigger ships of the Tau, and you have 85 instead of 83. Oh, you're Bastion. I thought that you were a protector vessel. Yeah, so all the protector ships, they share this sort of front armor, so it's pretty standard in that regard. 500 shield is not too bad, considering that, well, it's actually about even, right? 900, 500. I guess the shield on the Victorious Ethereal is conversely then a little bit weak for its cost, but once again, it is meant to fire from a distance. Now, let's take a quick look at this thing, because nothing else here really jumps out as particularly interesting. 160 speed, fairly slow, but a little bit faster than the really, really slow ships, and certainly fast enough to be able to move around the battlefield and reposition should that be required. So, this ship itself, the 1,000 Daggers. And here we go, pretty standard looking Tau ship in the sense that it's got the classic manta shape with, stuff bolted on top of it, essentially. It looks like a face with 2 eyes and a mouth there. It's a happy little ship, isn't it? Oh, look at how happy it is. I hadn't realized that. It's just like noticing faces with like a car's grill and slash bumper and its headlights there. Oh, I'm so stupid. Alrighty, well, anyway, this is the ship. Let's just go for this color scheme, I guess, because it does stand out and is pretty bright. Otherwise, yeah, it is really standard looking, but that is good in the sense that it does work with the rest of the Tau ships really well. Like, you couldn't really pick this out of a Tau fleet and be like, hey, was this cobbled together? No, because it's got that classic protector manta Tau shape that the Tau like on their vehicles. Otherwise, Let's take a look at its weapons. The 1,000 Daggers is obviously named for its signature weapon, which is the Star Ripper Gatling cannon. As you can probably guess, this thing has an insane rate of fire. The accuracy is only efficient, but you can bump it up with the Warfare as well as lock-on, or at least I hope so. I guess we're going to be finding that out when we try it out. I assume that the Ripper Gatling cannon functions as a macro weapon and thus might benefit from the targeting coordinator buff, but I guess we'll check that out when in-game as well, because I would really like to know. Very curious about that in particular. Otherwise, the weaponry of this ship are all mid to long range, 18,000, 13,500, 13,500. It doesn't have anything short, which is once again great considering how fragile it is, and you can probably buff it up to max via coordination and lock-on and warfare, so all of that together will make this a pretty damn snipey ship for the Tau. I'm really curious to see how these Star Gatling weapons function and how much damage they can output. Their critical chances are only 5%, but considering just how much they can fire, that's probably going to be pretty intense. Also, on top of that, every single one of the weapons on this ship are all 90-degree front firing. This one does not display 90-degree front, but it does say angle of fire 90-degree front. I think it's just a buggy in that regard. Either way, I do believe that we do have to keep this ship facing forward. And once again, it does make sense as the tower protectors do have that front armor that is always buffed up. Thus, you do have to be careful moving the ship around and kiting because you're not going to get too much value if you are in broadside. Otherwise, we also have the Nebula missiles and the double barrel heavy railgun artillery as the actual weapons on this thing, and I do want to point out that none of these are turrets, so you do have to be very careful about positioning the ship properly, otherwise you will be getting 0 damage output if you are not in the cone of fire for your weapons. It does, as I mentioned earlier, have 2 launch bays to protect itself. Hopefully that's enough. I mean, it's not a crazy amount, and I just noticed that there's a little asymmetry here. These things, there's 2 here and 1 here. Interesting. I like that. I always like asymmetry on ships. I feel like ships shouldn't be perfectly symmetrical. I gotta take a look at the other, whichever Tau ship this piece came from. Or these pieces. Yes. Anyway, distracting myself, we also got some torpedo launchers for those missile swarms, but that is pretty standard for Tau in general. Pretty neat looking ship, and it's a nice addition as we now have a Grand Cruiser in this fleet. Let's take it for a test drive, shall we? Fleet builder, this is the fleet, basically nothing but these 6,000 daggers and a few Castellans just to provide that much needed targeting coordinator and identification range buff, as these things, like the rest of the ships, do not have anything greater than 9,000 range other than the Nikasar vessels, and we won't be bringing a Nikasar vessel this time because I want these guys to be able to provide more missile cover, I suppose. So yes, that. Once again, we're going to go with multi-spectrum sensor and targeting coordinator for this. I was thinking about getting the other stuff, but I feel like a Vanguard Void Battlesuit probably not worth it considering they can only bring 2 launch bays each. You're not really going to get that many swarms out of it. It's still probably a reasonably useful ability, but I feel like considering the way we're going to be using it, we're probably going to be trying to rely on those 1,000 daggers and not so much on the fighter output, more or less use the fighter output to protect ourselves. Strobe field and emission dissipator, good for moving around. Once again, because this ship is really front-facing, it has no broadsides whatsoever. Kind of dangerous to rely on these things when you can't do any damage out that way. And I really don't care about the flagship stuff because obviously we have all of the same kind of ships and we have many of them. So you don't really need to buff up a single flagship. Anyway, here we go. Let's get a couple battles going against Chaos the first time. You know what? Why not? We'll do another faction like maybe the Necrons because they'd be particularly difficult to fight afterwards. Or maybe the Tyranids. I'll think about it. Let's start with Chaos. Chaos because they can fight us at long range just like we can. I was gonna definitely try either Chaos or Eldari for wet tissue paper ships versus wet tissue paper ships. But I think Chaos will serve. Ooh, and this is, it's a nice Zinchi location, isn't it? Alright, well, our ships are really, really bright. Now, here's the thing. What do we want to do in terms of warfare? I guess we want to try out one each, right? Montka, more critical chance. Wait, when the ship is firing at a marked ship, the critical chance is raised by 75%. Considering the amount of crits that the Gatling weapons might be able to output, that might be a really strong buff. Kauyan is going to buff up our stealth and gas cloud abilities. That's the question. I mean, against Chaos, I want to say against Chaos, maybe we want to be in the gas cloud, just because they can fire at a distance and they would probably be able to cripple us if we allow them to. So let's go with Kauyan this time, and let's make use of this gas cloud right here. Ooh, although this is not a very big gas cloud, which is unfortunate. So I think what we'll do here is we are going to pop you guys like this. We'll get the rest of you behind them afterwards, but we'll keep you here for now so we can launch missiles while the enemy closes the distance, essentially. And I assume that these guys launch missiles forward instead of outward. Wait, can we see... oh, damn, you can't see the highlights of the missiles? Well, that's a shame. Okay, well, we'll just do like this then. Alright, so the first thing I want to find out is you, Star Ripper Gatling Cannon, if we put you into lock-on... You do increase. Beautiful, beautiful. That's what I like to see. I can't wait to see what this thing looks like when it's firing, especially when there's many of them. I'd love to build like a massive fleet of nothing but these ships. Would be pretty awesome. You guys have to hide for at least a few seconds, please. And you guys go like this. Oh, these asteroids might actually be pretty helpful for us. And you guys, I guess, are also going to launch missiles. Alright, ooh, now I also got the multi-spectrum probe and a stasis bomb in this particular case because I think those would be reasonably helpful. Let's also launch a probe out, let's say, here. And I'm going to speed it up in a second. Yeah, let's just speed it up. I'll just speed it up, otherwise it's going to take a while. The enemy ships do have to get to us. And we do have to be wary of them firing a bunch of Nova cannons or anything crazy over here, but I do also want to start launching those missiles. Under the presumption, once again, that we launch them forward. Hello, an enemy render battleship. Ooh, let's see what this looks like. Alright, decent amount of fire. You guys need to face forward, as I said earlier. But I just want to launch one of these missiles just to see if they launch forward or to the side. I'm really hoping it's forward. Otherwise, it's going to be bad. Yeah, it is forward. Okay, we're safe. We're safe. Let's speed it back up to normal, and everybody can launch missiles right at this thing. Probably an unnecessary amount of missiles, in fact. Let's do this. Hello, an enemy admiral, #1 target. Alrighty, now you, target that engine. Ooh, look at those crits. 20% weaponry, a deck is out of the picture. Deck is gone for good. They're not doing a crazy amount of damage, but the missiles are in there. Yeah, alright. Alright, now I think we need to get back. We got more missile launches though. Let's get another multi-spectrum probe out there. Keep launching missiles until we run out. Maintain lock-on stance, I believe. Ooh, you need to... Nah, stay where you are for now. Alright, well that's going to be in the way of the missiles. Let's hope that not too much. Where's that admiral? Man, we're not even hiding right now, and I think this is going pretty good. Look at the sheer weight of fire here. Oh, it's what I love to see. Alright, let's get some defensive fighters. I guess maybe we don't even need to hide. Everybody turn to forward facing. Oh, okay, none of this, please. None of this. You guys, move forward. And, oh, okay, No, wait, I hit the wrong thing, you guys, stop. You turn, and get the hell out of there. Get out. There we go. We definitely need to keep at least one of these guys alive. And turn. You, try to get away or try to identify. No, oh, we don't even need to identify them. We have them marked maxed out. All right, there we go. One of our ships is out of the picture. I'm going to launch more missiles. And let's stasis bomb, I don't know, these guys. Oh, the enemy admiral is just about dead. Let's switch to another target and let's launch missiles out. Let's go 4 missiles for you, 4 missiles for you, and then target somebody else like this guy. Do we need any more borders? No, we don't. Ooh, yeah, our little tiny ships are going to be in pretty bad shape here. In fact, can you hide? No, you can't. We're going to lose our targeting coordinator unless we try to escape this ship. You know what? Move you forward a little bit. And then you, try to get out. Try to survive this. Come on. Don't smash into your friend there. And get out. There we go. Alright, well, in terms of damage output, these things are looking pretty good, and now what I want you guys to do is move a little bit closer. And that probably sounds counterintuitive for Tau ships, but what I want to do is try some reload. Ooh, also, what's our we're at efficient accuracy, eh? But if the enemy is marked, it'll be much more accurate, and the accuracy is doing pretty good. I'm actually really enjoying this ship. I like these Gatling cannons. In fact, speaking of Gatling cannons, reload. Switch to that. There we go. Look at that. Oh, rip this thing apart. Oh, that's beautiful. And the closer we get, obviously, the more damage we do. So we don't even care at how fragile we are right now, considering just the sheer damage output that this stuff is allowing us out. A lot of this debris is going to be blocking our missiles. Yeah, that's the biggest unfortunate bit about the missiles, but oh well. You know what? Hit it with some Manta bombers. I don't think we even need to. That thing's dead. Man. I'm really liking the performance of these ships, especially against Chaos. We'll see how well they work against Necrons, though, where the missiles don't really do anything. But look at that. How are the crits here? Target those engines first, #1 target. Man, I really can't wait to do the Tau campaign now. It's coming up pretty soon. I'd like to think so. Yeah, I really can't wait for it, because the Tau ships just look so cool when they're firing. It's so fireworks. Everything's fireworks. I love it. And how are we doing? This is our only ship that's gotten hurt, and that just by virtue of the fact that we got close to the enemy fleet. And then there was one. You guys obviously can't fire at it, so turn to the side. Oh, it looks like some shots are firing at you, so maybe those nebula missiles are actually more than 90 degrees. But still, you still want to face the ship forward. Very nice performance on that 1,000 daggers. In fact, in terms of sheer damage output, I think I might be a little bit more impressed with the 1,000 daggers, especially in terms of cost, than I am with the Victorious Ethereal. I feel like the Victorious Ethereal might be undergunned for the sheer amount of points that it costs. Like, just compare the amount of weapons of the Victorious Ethereal. Like, it's got 12 Nebula missiles to 10 Nebula missiles of the Custodian, which is only half as much. And it's got the same exact carrier capacity, and it's got the same amount of super heavy railgun turrets as well. I gotta look more into this. Especially when comparing, like, the problem is I never got to compare the Victorious Ethereal directly in combat to the Custodian, but yeah, now that I've done the 1,000 daggers, I'm thinking that this thing may be overpriced, or these things may be underpriced, but I doubt it just by virtue of the light cruisers and cruisers, and the fact that everything here is just so incredibly fragile. You really shouldn't be making more of this stuff more expensive. And especially, it's surprising that the Victorious Ethereal doesn't have the gravitic hook or anything, so the Custodian on top of its more than twice the expense, or the Victorious more than twice the expense, doesn't have a free escort set either. It does have more missiles, obviously, but and it does have the missile pods, but also it has the coax stuff, right? Well, no, it has the broadside stuff, the heavy railgun battery. You have coax, right? Gravitic hook, heavy ion cannon coax, yeah. Yeah, for the close combat. Interesting. I'll do some more of a comparison of that in the Tau campaign and probably in further showcases, but just an interesting aside while we're testing out the 1,000 daggers. I'm in fact so impressed with how much damage the 1,000 daggers is able to dish out there that I decided to take a look at the other ships. Anyway, let's launch it one more time. We will go against the Necrons this time because they will prevent us from getting too much use out of our missiles. I mean, we could go against the Tyranids as well, who are also really... You know what, I think last time we went against the Necrons with the previous test, so let's go against the Tyranids this time, who should be quite difficult as well. Yeah, I think that'll work. I always want to give the ships a test that is like against factions that are really close combat and are very dangerous to face for that particular faction versus a faction where they would feel a little bit more at home, like they clearly did in that Chaos fight. Alrighty, now we will have to rely on marking up the enemy in this particular situation, plus I do want to try out both warfares, even if the other warfare would probably help us a little bit. We do have an asteroid field to hide here, and I think we're going to make use of that. We are going to go
blow brings the enemy's end.
Thank you. We're going to go Montka. If somebody stops talking for a second, and I don't mean me, or do I mean me? Maybe I should just shut up. Let's get you guys... Oh, can't quite move to where I like you. Alright, well, you guys fire missiles from here. You only have 2 sets. Everybody go into lock-on for now. Ready up. Does the enemy have a Titan? Yes, indeed it does. Yes, indeed it does. Alright, so what I want is you guys get sort of like this. And, oh yeah, one of the dangerous things for the Tau is that because they have so little HP, is that asteroids can actually hurt them, unlike most other factions where they just don't care because of the sheer amount of HP. Now, I want to do this. I want to launch defensive... Wait, who are they launching their stuff at? Huh. Weird. You guys hide for a second.
It will be so.
Because those things aren't coming back, are they? Maybe they launched them at our... Ooh, you know what we should also do? Multi-spectrum probe right here. Alright, you guys, and get ready to stop in a second. Hide from those nids. Definitely don't want them seeing us, because while we do have carrier capacity, it's not anything crazy. Stop. Are they gonna go back? Yeah, they're gonna go back. Perfect. Now what we'll do is launch... Ooh, in fact, maybe launch Mantas at this Titan. If they can't defend itself, and then launch as many missiles as you can while you have it. There we go. You guys, move out. Move out, move out, move out quickly. I want to launch your missiles as well, especially as you're going to hide behind the rest of the ships, because we really do need that targeting coordinator. And I'll launch them missiles now. I think there was another... I think I saw a hive ship here. Man, rams towards our ships are probably going to be the most dangerous thing that we could face here. Definitely have to watch out for that stuff. And alright, you guys launch stuff in a few more seconds. And here we go. Ah, look at this flight. Isn't this a beautiful sight? Missiles and mantas. If we can get to the enemy Titan before it launches another set of defensive stuff, this is going to be pretty devastating. It's got 12,500 HP. Oh, so the missiles are going to be blocked. But the rest will hit here. Oh yeah, look at that. Very, very nice. And I am watching this to the detriment of the rest of our fleet, but... Mantas, do your thing. Alright, how are we doing here? Some of the enemies are getting destroyed. I want to move you guys... Okay, you know what? I want you to launch your missiles, actually. Launch missiles. And you two, go back here. You stay out here to identify enemies, please. And go hide. You guys, get ready to launch missiles as well, with support craft this time. More missiles against that Titan. Let's set up another auger probe out here. I did see a hive ship, and I do want to make sure that we find it. You guys move right here. Alright, yeah, you spread that greater good. I think this Titan is dead. I think it'll die before it gets to us. Now, since we are using our... I'm just thinking about what this warfare is doing to us that we've picked here. And that is the fact that we get more crits. So I suppose if we target brains, we're much more likely to cripple a bunch of the enemy ships. I feel like this would be more effective against non-Tyranids. In fact, like, this would be amazing against the Orcs. Yeah, you guys really need to face in a proper direction so that you don't get wrecked. Let's go into auto-engagement mode, in fact, and cancel your orders. And, oh, yeah, that's dangerous. Oh, yeah, that's very, very dangerous. Alright, well, the stasis probe is really helpful here. Please die already. Especially considering that was against our Admiral at that. I want to maintain lock-on for now, I think, though. Alright, one of our little ships is dead. Please tell me you're dead before you reach us. Ooh, that was close. That was very, very close. Let's also launch more missiles at you, I guess. Hopefully they actually hit you. And let's launch some defensive fighters as well, just to protect the missiles. I think keeping the missiles firing is absolutely key. You can cancel order and auto-engage. There we go. I should probably make you all group 1. Oh, and you are firing at nothing right now. But... what we can do is we can move you three up a little bit closer. Man, once again, the sheer firepower here. Very nasty. And I think we can now switch to reload. Ooh, somebody needs repairs. Yeah, you need repairs to get boarded. Switch to reload, damage output increasing. Beautiful. I love it. Move to where you were going, please. And then stop. And ooh, don't let them ram too much. Oh, that's so dangerous. That is so damn dangerous. How'd our missiles do? It looks like a bunch of them did hit the enemy hive ship. We're gonna ignore you while we destroy the rest of your friends there. Let's get another stasis bomb, but we don't actually need it. I actually thought that the Tyranids would be insanely difficult here, but at least in non-massive battles, this is really quite effective. Gotta give it up to the 1,000 daggers. I'm really liking this ship. Very nice, very nice, and it does work well with the sort of stuff that that this fleet does as well. Plus, when you're building a proper fleet, and by this fleet I meant the Protector fleet, it definitely works with their fighting style or their battle style or whatever. What I was going to say is when you're building a proper fleet with these things in the Tau in general, once again, you would probably want to use some auxiliaries to protect you, but then on top of that, you could bring a Custodian, because the Custodian does provide the buff advanced targeting systems, which increase defense turrets accuracy by 5%, and that'll help protect these ships against enemy carrier swarms and stuff like that, which could be very, very dangerous, as I've said earlier, because of their low HP. So you can definitely make a pretty damn good fleet with a decent amount of these supports. I'm very happy with this ship. I'm very happy with the ship, and I am going to have to end this showcase here, or the spotlight here, but it definitely ends on a good note. That is unfortunately also it for the new ships that the Tau Protector fleet has right now. I mean, technically the entire Tau Protector fleet did get reworked in the mod, because they all use the Nebula missiles instead of what they had in vanilla, which was the standard Tau weaponry. I believe it was just ion cannons and railguns, but now they all have those. They all have those missile swarms and more of these. Well, Nebula missiles, and there's special weapons like the Star Ripper, the Star Ripper, and the, what was the name of the other weapons? I think it's just Nebula missiles. Yeah, it's just Nebula missiles. The Star Spear also had its warp lance. But yeah, anyway, I'm digressing just because I've been having so much fun with this particular vessel. Can't wait to try it out in the campaign. Stay tuned next time for the Tyranids and their new vessels. And don't forget to leave a like and a comment for your friendly neighborhood heretic. All glory to the algorithm. And once again, the Tau vessels are just so fun to watch. And thanks for watching.